The air crackled with festive cheer. It was Eid, a day of joy, a day for families. The Zaidi family, a large, loving unit, had gathered from far and wide. Laughter echoed. Children chased each other, and the aroma of traditional delicacies filled the air. But beneath the surface of merriment, a darkness lurked, unknown and unseen. Amidst the joyous chaos, Farid Zaidi, the eldest son, felt a chill. It was his brother's first Eid after his wedding, and Farid was determined to make it memorable. The house buzzed with relatives. The women congregated in the kitchen, their laughter ringing out, while the men huddled, discussing everything from politics to cricket. Little did they know their lives were about to change forever. The sound of laughter and chatter masked the quiet steps of the figure as he moved towards the unsuspecting family, his shadow stretching, a harbinger of the horror that was to come. The Zaidi family gathered in the main hall. Mr. Zaidi, known for his generosity, sat surrounded by his children and grandchildren. Mrs. Amina Zaidi, her face etched with wisdom, smiled at her bustling family. Salim, the life of the party, cracked jokes, his laughter echoing. Aisha, her eyes sparkling, played with her nieces and nephews. The room buzzed with warmth, but Farid felt unease, gnawing at him. Suddenly the doorbell rang, cutting through the chatter. Silence descended upon the room as Farid's cousin Amir opened the door. A tall, shadowy figure stood at the entrance, his face obscured by the darkness. "Salam alaikum," the figure growled, his voice a chilling rasp that sent shivers down their spines. Farid felt a surge of adrenaline. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. "Wa alaikum salam," Amir responded cautiously, his hand instinctively moving towards the door as if to close it on the intruder. "Can I help you?" The figure pushed his way in, his eyes glittering with malice, scanning the room. Farid's blood ran cold. He recognized the intruder, Jamal, his estranged uncle, a man consumed by resentment and driven by an insatiable thirst for revenge. The air crackled with tension. The festive atmosphere evaporated, replaced by a suffocating dread. The children, sensing the shift in mood, fell silent, their laughter replaced by whimpers of fear. Jamal, a man driven by a corrosive cocktail of resentment, greed, and envy, had always felt wronged by the Zaidi family. He saw their happiness as an affront, their success a constant reminder of his own failures. Years ago, Jamal had been caught trying to swindle his own brother, Mr. Zaidi, out of his inheritance. Mr. Zaidi, a man of principles, had banished Jamal, refusing to let his brother's treachery slide. This act of justice, in Jamal's twisted mind, was the ultimate betrayal. The years following his banishment had been a slow descent into madness for Jamal. He lived in a dilapidated shack on the outskirts of the village, his days spent nursing his wounded pride and plotting his revenge. The sight of the Zaidi family gathered in their finery, their faces aglow with happiness, was the final straw for Jamal. A terrifying scream pierced the eerie silence. Aisha crumpled to the floor, a crimson stain blossoming on her white shalwar kameez. Jamal stood over her, a blood-stained knife glinting in his hand. The room erupted in chaos. Screams filled the air as Jamal lunged, slashing and stabbing. Farid reacted instinctively. He lunged at Jamal to protect his family. A struggle ensued, fueled by desperation and rage. Farid felt a searing pain but fought on. Women and children scrambled for safety. The night, once filled with joyous sounds, now echoed with chilling cries and horrified whispers. The brightly lit house, now cloaked in darkness, was broken only by moans of pain. First responders arrived to a scene of unimaginable horror. Farid, soaked in blood, watched in numb silence as paramedics tried to save his family. The world moved in slow motion, ambulance lights reflecting his shattered life. News spread through the community, leaving shock and disbelief. The heinous act sent shockwaves, leaving a stain of fear and sorrow. The once peaceful community was shrouded in a pall of grief and disbelief. The gruesome news of the Zaidi family massacre spread like wildfire, leaving everyone reeling in shock. The streets, usually bustling with life, were eerily deserted, the silence broken only by hushed whispers and choked sobs. The local mosque, once a place of solace and prayer, became a sanctuary for a community united in grief. People huddled together, seeking comfort in shared sorrow and struggling to comprehend the magnitude of the tragedy. The Imam, his voice thick with emotion, led the prayer for the departed souls, his words providing little comfort in the face of such senseless violence. The brutal massacre of the Zaidi family had shaken the community to its core. The sense of security, the belief that such horrors could never penetrate their peaceful lives, had been shattered. The trial of Jamal was a media spectacle. The courtroom packed with reporters, curious onlookers, and members of the grieving community. The prosecution, armed with a mountain of evidence, painted a chilling picture of a man driven by envy and consumed by a thirst for revenge. They presented witness testimonies, forensic evidence, and Jamal's own chilling confession, all pointing to a premeditated act of barbarity. The defense, in a desperate attempt to save their client from the gallows, argued temporary insanity, claiming that Jamal had suffered a psychotic break, a momentary lapse of reason that led him to commit the unspeakable act. The jury listened intently as both sides presented their cases, their faces etched with a mixture of horror, disbelief, and pity. The weight of the evidence was overwhelming, the prosecution's case airtight. After days of deliberation, the jury returned with a verdict: guilty. Jamal was sentenced to life imprisonment, his fate sealed. Years have passed since that horrific aid, but the memory of the massacre haunts the community. The house where the tragedy occurred stands empty, a silent monument to unimaginable horror. Children's laughter has returned, but it is tinged with caution, a reminder of lurking darkness. The Zaidi family, forever fractured, navigates life carrying their loss. Farid, with his scarred arm, is the family patriarch, his eyes reflecting deep sadness. The tragedy's impact extends beyond the family, seeping into the community's consciousness.